Welcome to the next big thing in professional wrestling podcasting. This is Raw Is Gibby with your host, Zachary Gibby. Welcome to the Raw Is Gibby Podcast, coming at you from parts unknown. It's me, it's Zach McGibby, bringing you the next big thing in wrestling podcasting. Remember that if you like this podcast, I'll leave a like and subscribe to the Raw Is Gibby YouTube channel to get you up to date on the latest wrestling reviews and news. Don't forget to also leave a comment on the podcast if there is anything you want me to improve on for future podcasts. So on this episode of the Raw Is Gibby Podcast, we are reviewing the Monday Night Raw that happened in the United Kingdom. And before I start, to all my UK fans who listen to the podcast, you guys are just awesome, especially on wrestling shows. Just great crowds every time. So just wanted to say thank you so much for just being awesome. So I guess we'll start off right away with the Bray Wyatt promo. This was a really... What else do you expect really from Bray Wyatt? This was just another really good promo. This was a great way to start off the show. You had the Wyatt family coming out, and you had more of Bray Wyatt talking about his past a little bit, understanding him more, which is a very cool little addition to Bray Wyatt's character. It was really cool, and it was really creepy, and just, of course, the crowd was totally into it, with the cell phone lights waving back and forth to Bray Wyatt's song. Just absolute amazingness happened during this Raw. In terms of the crowd, some of the stuff was a little iffy, but the crowd helped to make the show a lot better. And then you had Cena come out and do an AA, which is a very interesting move, because this just shows more of John Cena's aggression. I think this is a good move for Cena. And it's also good for Bray Wyatt. He got his TV time, and he just put out a great promo. It was really cool about him talking about his teacher in the past. Just really cool stuff, and it was just really cool to watch, and just a great way to start off the show for Monday Night Raw. So the next segment we had was our first match of the evening, which was Sheamus versus Cesaro. This was a pretty solid match. I really thought it was a good match. This could be our next U.S. title match in the near future. I wouldn't be surprised. This was a very solid match. It's a great brawler match. Sheamus is always good at the brawler matches. He knows how to work brawl matches. And with a guy like Cesaro to help back him up, it just really goes to show how great their chemistry is in the ring. I still am feeling that Cesaro should play more of a tweener role, more face than heel. But they kind of didn't really show that in this match, because at the end of the match, Cesaro won with a German suplex, which he's been winning with recently, which is kind of interesting. And it's just Sheamus offered a handshake, and Cesaro blew him off. Didn't accept the handshake. So I would like to see more of a face Cesaro instead of a heel Cesaro. As far as I know right now, Cesaro is still technically a tweener in my opinion. But I'm worried he's going to turn into that generic heel that starts to, get lower and lower on the card, because there's not much to him except him being a cowardly heel. But it was definitely a great match. Just interested to see where Cesaro is going. I think he's going to win Money in the Bank this year. But I'm not going to make any guarantees. There's a lot of great challengers for the Money in the Bank competition. But my early bet is that Cesaro is going to win the Money in the Bank competition. I know that's a couple months away, and we're still at Payback. But right now, just Cesaro is just looking like the guy who's going to win the Money in the Bank contract. And I'm also hoping to see Cesaro versus Sheamus very soon. I think that'll be a cool match to watch in the future for the U.S. Championship. I know that they're probably going to try and find a way to bring the U.S. title back into Prestige, but at this point it's better to have the titles merge, but right now it doesn't look like they're going to do that. So you might as well try and raise the title as much as you can. Sheamus is doing a pretty good job. He's fighting every week with the U.S. title, so that's very good. That's solid booking. But yeah, it was a good match, and I'm glad. And it was just a great match, great first match of the show. So the next match we had was the Beat the Clock match between Big E versus Ryback. This was going to determine who the number one contender is going to be for the Intercontinental Championship. And this match between Big E and Ryback was not very good. It was a little bit disappointing because Ryback has improved a lot over the last year. And Big E is also a solid wrestler. I know that he's being kind of pushed down right now, and he's probably going to focus more on his feud with Alexander Rusev. But it was just disappointing to see because I thought they would do better. It was just a little clunky at times, and just it didn't look good, and it was just... And the match was just very predictable, too. You knew that Big E was going to beat Ryback. Try and make himself look big, which is not very hard to do if you're Big E Langston. But Big E Langston needs to find some way out of an Alexander Rusev storyline, because Rusev needs to face someone solid on the roster, not a rising star like Big E, like I've said last week. Yeah, it was not a very good match. And I know these two could be better. I know they're not the greatest wrestlers, but they're not bad wrestlers either. And they've both improved a lot, and I hope they do better in the future, but this match did not showcase them very, very well at all. So the next match we had was R-Truth and Naomi versus Fandango and Layla. This wasn't even a match. It was more of the reintroduction of Summer Rae, and it looks like we're going to have a feud between Summer Rae and Layla, which is interesting because that would make it, I think, the third Diva feud going on. Obviously, the Divas title, but you have the one with that stupid storyline with a painting, and you also have this one, which is a good revenge story. I guess what this could end up being is Fandango being a special guest referee. That could be a good little gimmick into the match. And it wasn't even a match, really. It was just a way to ignite the feud between Layla and Summer Rae. So this wasn't really a match. So, it's just... I just wish it was more of a segment for Fandango to get some promo time instead of a match, wasting R-Truth and Naomi's time, to be honest. But this will set up a match between them, and I'm glad they're emphasizing a bit more on the Divas division. Whether the quality of the storylines will be good, that remains to be seen. Obviously, that Nikki Bella and Natalya storyline is just stupid. But it's great that they're showing future promise in the Divas division, and I'm glad that we're seeing that. So it was a good promo, but no match happened, so I can't really tell you what the match rating was. So next we had Stephanie McMahon coming out to talk about the state of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and she announced that she was contemplating stripping Bryan of the title and awarding it to Kane. And then she announced that she demanded that Bryan would personally surrender the world title on Monday Night Raw next week. So they're really trying to keep this Kane-Daniel Bryan feud alive, which please stop. It was a good little 1 month feud to give Kane a bit of momentum, but it should not be a more than a month feud. And it was also it was well done by Stephanie McMahon, just coming out to the massive heat when Daniel Bryan's entrance came on and she came out. That was a very interesting move by WWE to get her some more heat. And it was an interesting promo, and it sets up what's going to happen next week on Raw. And I'm wondering what they're going to do with the championship. Does this mean that they do another tournament? I guess we'll see. But it's going to be interesting what they do. So the next promo was Heath Slater versus Rusev. He's now going by Rusev now. We got to see the return of the Union Jacks, but they didn't really last long, as it was yet another Rusev squash match. Disappointed. I mean, it's just... I know you need to get squash matches to make the guy go over, but there comes a point like when Ryback was squashing everybody in plain sight. It just kind of got old a little bit, but they did build him well. They're not really building Rusev well as the heel, in my opinion. They need to do more with Rusev. It was just your typical squash match. It would have been nice to see someone other than Heath Slater taking the fall, but I guess because they were Britain and they were the Union Jacks last year, they might as well bring them back to appease the England crowd, which really didn't please the England crowd because of their guy losing to Rusev. I guess it was just your standard squash match, really. So the next match we had was another Beat the Clock match, where it was Rob Van Dam versus Alberto Del Rio for the 723rd time. It's getting repetitive, and the chemistry is just not there between Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio. And this was just definitely one of those matches that just showed that the chemistry is kind of not really there between these two guys. And it's kind of disappointing. Van Dam won the match with a schoolboy roll-up. Nothing special about this match. This was not a very good match. Considering these two guys' wrestling abilities too, it was definitely very disappointing. But it's looking like Van Dam is having a hard time meshing with some of the other talent in WWE, as his matches haven't been that great recently. So they need to probably find someone that could mesh well with Van Dam. Hopefully Barrett does that, or someone else, because Van Dam needs to make himself look good for these wrestling shows. It's just, and also too, no more repetitive matches. Rob Van Dam versus Alberto Del Rio was a pay-per-view match, and yet you're repeatedly showing it on television. It just kind of gets repetitive after a while, and the pay-per-view match just seems like it was forced, which it kind of was, but you can't make people keep that mindset in everybody's... you can't keep that in everybody's head. So it was definitely not the greatest match on Raw, especially the talent of these two wrestlers. So the next match we had was Seth Rollins versus Batista. Batista has gotten a lot better. There was some good chemistry between Rollins and Batista, which was very interesting. We also had the big brawl that happened after the match. Well, technically during the match. Rollins, I believe, won by disqualification, and he won because Triple H got involved, and that's how the brawl happened. So there's been a lot of brawling between these two stables, and I like it. It shows the hatred between these two guys, and it really helps to build up this match for Payback. And this is probably Batista's last match going into Payback. This is maybe Batista's last Raw match before he goes off, unless they have him do one more match with Dean Ambrose, because I believe he's faced Reigns, Rollins. Now I think he just needs to face Ambrose. So I think this may be Batista's last match on Raw before he goes into Payback and then goes off to promote his movie. But it was definitely a great match, and it just a great way to build up the storyline. So this was a good part of the show. I would have liked to see Rollins and Batista go a bit longer, but it's all part of the storyline, and I'm liking how it's going. And just the Shield as a face has just really been solid. So definitely great stuff coming out of the Evolution versus Shield feud. So the next match we had was a non-title match between Paige and Alicia Fox again. So it was interesting because Alicia Fox Paige cleanly. So this could set up something very interesting for Payback. Hopefully it does. And the post-match celebration, I'm not going to say it, but you definitely just got to see it to believe it. It's really cool, this new gimmick that they're giving to Alicia Fox, and I'm glad. Very talented wrestler, and should definitely be put up more in the roster, especially with one of their top Diva stars, AJ Lee, gone. So it's definitely good that they're helping to build up other WWE Divas, and I'm glad they're putting in new emphasis on storylines other than that brutal painting storyline. But other than that, it's great, and I'm glad that they're putting some attention, because they've got a lot of shows to fill, and you might as well build up your divisions as much as you can. So this was a good match. Not as good as their other matches, but it was an interesting part of the show. And it'll help when they actually fight for the Divas title. So the next match we had was a Beat the Clock match between Dolph Ziggler and Mark Henry. Haven't seen Mark Henry in a while. It was an interesting match. Dolph Ziggler won, but he did not beat the clock in time. So Rob Van Dam won the Beat the Clock challenge, and he will challenge for the Intercontinental title. So hopefully that goes well with Barrett and Van Dam. And I wonder what they're going to do with Ziggler. I just honestly wonder what they're going to do with Ziggler. He's kind of one of their more talented wrestlers on the roster, and he's not being utilized very well right now. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what they're going to do with Ziggler. But yeah, it was a good match. Ziggler sold well. It wasn't the greatest match, but it was good considering who Ziggler was facing, because Mark Henry isn't really that good of a wrestler. Let's be honest. He's just slow. I know he's a power guy, but the big man the big man little guy match was alright. It was just okay. That's all I really have to say about it. Nothing really special. Just Van Dam won the Beat the Clock challenge because Ziggler couldn't pin him in time. So it was definitely a little disappointing, because I would have liked to have seen a Ziggler versus Barrett matchup. That would have been cool to watch. But it'll be Van Dam and Bad News Barrett at Payback. So it'll be BNB and RVD. So that'll be cool. So then we had the Exotic Express arrive in London. Adam Rose coming out. This promo was done better because of the London crowd, and it's interesting that Rose is being thrust into a feud with Jack Swagger right away. I would figure that maybe they would put Rusev in a big match right away, but obviously they're going to go through the squash match routine. But I don't know about Rose. He's got massive jobber written all over the gimmick, but he's getting along with the crowd as far as I can see, and I guess Swagger is a good challenger. This may lead, in my opinion, to a split between Coulter and Swagger, but I could be wrong, because I doubt Coulter has been with a losing Swagger for about a year now. Eventually, that's got to take a toll on the guy. So I think we're going to see a split between Coulter and Swagger soon. Call me crazy, but that's what I think. And it was this promo was done a lot better because of that UK crowd. So thank you. The best quote was from JBL, who said to euthanize the bunny. Little harsh, but a little funny at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see how the feud goes. It's not the greatest feud, but it's just a match to showcase Adam Rose. I guess we'll see how it goes at Extreme Rules. So the final match of the evening was John Cena versus Luke Harper. Of course, this was a great match. Luke Harper is a great wrestler. Just an all-around great wrestler. And Harper, just the moves he does, you just would not believe. Just him drop kicking and all that. And Cena also held his ground too. It was very good. And then we had at the end the Wyatt family interfering. And they had Eric Rowan deliver a fall-away slam on Cena on the ramp. And Bray Wyatt did Sister Abigail on the stage. Did the finishing move, Sister Abigail on the stage. And Harper was singing to 10. Harper just has the best facial reactions. I don't know. But it's just, the facial reactions are so goofy. I don't find them creepy. I just find them so goofy. But that's what makes Luke Harper such a great character. Cena's STF looks bad. Cena needs to improve on that STF. But anyways, that was a great match. It was a great match to end the show. And I'm really glad that the only thing I worry is the match quality of Cena and Harper. Cena and the Wyatt family. Because Bray Wyatt specifically, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, the last two matches haven't been all that great. Especially that steel cage match. I thought it was a dud of a match. It wasn't very good. So hopefully this last man standing match really shows the aggressiveness between Cena and Wyatt, and hopefully this feud will end with that last man standing match, and that last man standing match will be a great match. I hope it does, because the way that this storyline has carried out is just it's just great, and it's a great storyline, and I'm glad they're doing it, and it's really helping Wyatt get over. I still like to know about that little kid that interfered during the Extreme Rules match. What's up with him and why he used that, and where is he right now? But I guess they decided to ditch that angle. So hopefully this match, I think, will be the last match between Cena and Wyatt, and just hopefully it's a good match, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Alright, so that was my Raw review. In terms of the Monday Night Raw, it was made better by the London crowd. I believe it was in London, England. Sorry for all the UK fans if I got that wrong. But it was made a lot better by the UK fans. So I'd give it a B. Not great, but made a lot better because of the UK fans. Great matches from John Cena and Luke Harper. A good little match between Cesaro and Sheamus. I hope that turns into a title feud for the U.S. Championship. And just a great show. Seth Rollins, Batista also had a great match. So hopefully that leads to something in the future. So yeah, it was a B show. It was made a lot better by that UK crowd. So I guess we'll move along now to some WWE news. So I'll see here. Just recently, Sting, the rumored signing for Sting, was imminent, and now it still hasn't happened. And according to this, the feeling is that imminent is no longer the word to describe the situation. So it appears as signed with WWE, but who knows? Maybe Sting decided to back out, but I hope Sting comes to WWE, but maybe not to wrestle. Because people are saying that there's still some tank left of the gas for Undertaker and Sting. I don't think they should do that at all. I think they should steer clear and look to the future. Yeah, but that's essentially another Sting update. We also had WWE 2K15 announced today as I'm recording this. I'm hoping they do some good stuff for the game. I've been buying their games. I came back at WWE 12, so I'm hoping they up the ante. I hope in NXT mode, and I hope the graphics are a lot better. And I hope it's just an all-around good game. So it'll be definitely interesting to see what happens. And yeah, so I think I'll take I'll take up one more news article. Let's see here. We had Bill Goldberg saying that he would consider returning to WWE if it was for the right price. This should be a sign they should not bring back Goldberg. Because I think Goldberg is older, and he may still have some appeal, but I think it's done for a Goldberg match at WrestleMania with whoever. Maybe another Goldberg Brock Lesnar match that is actually not too bad. But you never know. I'm not the biggest fan of Goldberg as everyone else is. I think he is a bit of an underrated wrestler, but he's not the greatest wrestler ever either. So yeah, it's just I'm a mixed bag with Goldberg, and I don't really see the point of bringing Goldberg back as a draw. It'd be cool to see a Goldberg-Batista match. That'd be cool to watch, especially how much Batista has gained his in-ring presence back in WWE. So that'd be a cool match to see. But other than that, I don't see any other appeal for Goldberg. So yeah, this was the Raw Is Gibby Podcast. If you liked this podcast, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Raw Is Gibby YouTube channel. If you have any opinions, leave it down in the comments. If you have anything that you want me to improve on for future podcasts, leave that down in the comments. You can find me on Facebook, Raw Is Gibby, and you could also find me on Twitter at Raw Is Gibby. Closing in on 400 followers on Twitter, so hopefully that comes into fruition. But anyways, guys, I hope you have a good day, and this was the Raw Is Gibby Podcast. Gibby out.